The Simpsons has been on for nearly 35 years now, but the characters do not age. So I find it interesting when they celebrate birthdays, something that marks people aging. However, for The Simpsons, this clearly isn't the case. As Lisa, who is 8, has had at least 3 birthdays on the show. Heck, Maggie's only one and has had 2 birthdays. Nevertheless, it's fun to see these episodes. And with my birthday being the day I released this video, I thought it would be fun to rank all the Simpsons birthday episodes from worst to best. Now before I get started, I have to clarify what counts as a birthday episode. There are birthdays that are alluded to, like when Bart was excluded from Milhouse's birthday party in Homer Defined, or when Barney doesn't remember his friends throwing him a birthday party in Days of Wine and Dozes. There are also moments where people say it's their birthday, like Homer in the Springfield Files, and Lisa in Insane Clown Poppy. But these are literally jokes about how no one cares about their birthday. Neither of these examples count as a birthday episode to me. The criteria I'm counting for this list is the birthday has to be actually celebrated during the episode. So saying it's someone's birthday or talking about a birthday isn't enough. Now before we get started, I'd like to give a shout out to our patrons. If you like this video, consider becoming a patron. It would help us out a lot. The link is in the description. Thank you. With that being said, here is my list of Simpsons birthday episodes ranked from worst to best. Number 19 and the worst birthday episode is Let's Go Fly a Coot. With a happy birthday to Milhouse and Rod. This episode starts at Milhouse's birthday party, where his parents went to extravagant lengths for Milhouse to have the best party, to the point they had to sell their house. We learn this because there's some sort of, as Homer puts it, birthday party arms race, where parents keep trying to one-up each other, which Homer tries to stop by sabotaging parties, leading to Big Birthday taking away Bart and Lisa's birthdays unless he throws Rod a birthday party. This leads to the actual main plot, where Abe reunites with an old Air Force buddy, who forces Homer to be nice to his father. And when I say force, I mean, look at this. Yeah, so that happened. We then hear a story of Abe hijacking a plane, flying to space, and breaking the sound barrier. And he did it all to impress a girl, stealing her from his friend. And that turned out to be Mona, Homer's mother. I was expecting a twist where his friend was pissed about losing Mona, but no, he's out of the episode by now. This was just a badly written episode. The big birthday plot was stupid. The Air Force friend went nowhere. Homer and Abe bonding was literally forced. The only interesting part was learning how Abe and Mona met. But that story was ridiculous garbage and contrary to Mona's character. The radical hippie terrorists worked at a military base? Really? And to cap it all off, it wasn't funny. This was just an awful episode. F. Number 18 is Simperized. With a happy birthday to Ralph. This episode begins Lisa and Bart at Ralph's birthday party, where Chief Wiggum has gotten him an amazing treehouse, after stealing thousands of dollars from the evidence locker. Ralph's treehouse causes Bart to become jealous, which leads to Marge working hard to build him a new treehouse. And she actually does a good job, but Bart is an ungrateful prick about it. She gets Homer to send Bart to her so she can confront him. But he shows up with breakfast just how she likes it and apologizes. And she forgives him. This was the better part of the episode. Now we get to the Homer plot. Homer develops a fear of public speaking, which quickly gets resolved after watching a god-awful improv sketch. He then decides to do improv now, and basically becomes an instant success, performing bad improv still. He gets invited to perform at a fringe festival, but his public speaking fear creeps back up, so Moe agrees to cheat with him. But Lisa immediately catches on and he doesn't do it. He then just does bad improv, but people laugh anyway. This episode's pretty bad. It did have a couple good jokes that were completely drowned by the sheer amount of awful jokes. The Homer improv plot was just bad. The Treehouse plot was better, but it's not enough to bring the episode back up. D. Number 17 is Grampy Can Ya Hear Me? With a happy birthday to Grandpa. This episode starts with Grandpa being angry on his birthday and taking it out on his friends and family. But when one of his friends gives him a hearing aid as a birthday gift, this changes everything for him and he becomes happier, until he finds out his family has been saying mean things about him this whole time. So he disappears, getting drunk at a VA, until he returns to them, hearing them say nice things about him, not knowing it was literally all scripted BS. There are also two subplots involving Lisa and Skinner, but both of them pretty much get resolved immediately, and don't add anything to the story. While this episode had a lot of funny jokes, the plot really brings it down, showing how much the family doesn't care about Grandpa and fakes their interactions. This episode is a D+. Number 16 is Homerazzi. With a happy birthday to Homer. This episode starts at Homer's birthday party, where he fails to blow out candles on his cake, eventually passing out onto the cake and causing a fire. This leads to them getting a fireproof safe, where everyone gets to put in one thing, with Marge choosing the family photo album. Unfortunately, what everyone else puts in accidentally starts a fire in the safe, causing the album to burn up, leading to Marge restaging all the family photos. However, when they get the photos, they find out that they have taken a picture of a celebrity scandal, and decide to sell it to a tabloid, leading to Homer taking a job as a paparazzi, where he is a typical paparazzi, an annoying jerk, going as far as ruining Rainier Wolfcastle's wedding, who hires a paparazzi to harass Homer in retaliation, causing Homer to retire and the celebrities to celebrate with a scandalous party, which Homer is encouraged to crash and take photos. But he decides not to release the pictures, in exchange for the celebrities not being jerks to their fans, which didn't really come up in the episode. Homer was the jerk here, except for Krusty, who hit a kid with a car door. But that was it. But sure, everyone learns a lesson and all is well. In the end, this episode is mediocre. The plot was alright, the ending was subpar, there were a couple of good jokes. Overall, it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was just meh. C. Number 15 is Mo Baby Blues. With a happy birthday to Maggie. This episode is about Mo saving Maggie's life, when he was about to end himself. But that changes when he sees the smile on her face. He proceeds to spend time with her, essentially becoming her nanny, during which he becomes very protective of her, and thinks he knows what's better for Maggie than Marge, to the point he causes conflict at Maggie's birthday party. But it only gets creepy when Maggie is crying at night, and Mo says he's got it through her baby monitor. After this, Marge and Homer naturally want Mo to stay away from their baby. Then for some random reason, the mob is talking about a hit outside Maggie's window, and Maggie decides to follow them. When Marge finds out that she's missing, they accuse Mo of stealing her. The cops confront him, then they just leave when it's revealed he didn't do it, leading to Mo joining Marge and Homer in finding Maggie. They uncover a clue leading to the mob, where Maggie is in the middle of a standoff, but is saved by Moe, and all is well. Honestly, the episode is mediocre at best. The plot is meh, and it had only a few good jokes. See? Number 14 is Life on the Fast Lane, with a happy birthday to Marge. This episode has two firsts in the show's history, as far as I can tell. It's the first time a birthday has been celebrated, and it has the first instance of jerk-ass Homer. Homer is an inconsiderate dick in the beginning of this episode. First shown by getting Marge a bowling ball for her birthday. Okay, maybe if he wanted to get her into bowling, it would be something, but his name is on it. We then learn he does this sort of thing every year on Marge's birthday. Jerk-ass. But Marge isn't taking this lying down, and decides to go bowling to spite Homer. This is where she meets a suave Frenchman named Jacques, who attempts to seduce her, and he actually makes progress. She even agrees to go on a date with him, and almost cheats on Homer with him, but she decides against it. After Homer uncovers the possible affair and speaks truly from his heart to her, we then see the iconic moment of Marge walking into the power plant and telling Homer he chooses him over Jacques. While this is one of the most well-known episodes, it's really only because of the final act, if not the final scene. The first two acts of the episode aren't really that good, but the third act hits you hard with the emotions to it, bringing it up to a C+. Number 13 is Exit Through the Quickie Mart, with a happy birthday to Marge. This episode starts with Homer getting Marge a nice gift for her birthday, which is uncommon for him. He even gets it autographed by the celebrity chef on the box, and the chef says she'll call her during her show to wish her a happy birthday. However, it's revealed that the phone cord was chewed through by Bart's present, a bunny. When they check their messages, they find out that she kept calling, leaving more and more angry messages each time, leading Marge to not have a happy birthday. Homer then punishes Bart by locking him in the bunny cage. Then in retaliation, Bart makes graffiti of Homer, which homages the Andre the Giant Obey graffiti. Bart puts it everywhere in town, and Chief Wiggum goats him into doing it more, which obviously he does, which gets him notoriety in the street artist community, and they set up a gallery for Bart's art. But it turns out to be a sting operation by the police. However, instead of getting arrested, he goes back into the cage and has to sign autographs, then escapes. This episode is alright. It has some good jokes in it, but the plot was nothing to write home about. I give it a B-. Number 12 is Lady Bouvier's Lover, with a happy birthday to Maggie. This episode starts off with Maggie's first birthday, and Maggie is always adorable to watch, and this was a great segment. However, it goes downhill from here, as it turns into a Jacqueline Bouvier spotlight episode, which as far as I can tell may be the only one she has. And after this one, I'm not surprised. This is a boring character. But apparently old men just love her instantly. As after Maggie's party, Jacqueline and Grandpa spend some time together, causing Grandpa to immediately fall head over heels in love with her, to a very sad level. However, when they go on their first date, Mr. Burns steps in on their dance together, and then he instantly falls in love with her too, and quickly decides to marry her, which she agrees to because, well, he's a billionaire, come on. However, during the wedding, Mr. Burns is a jerk to her family and is trying to rush everything. But then Abe stops the wedding, and he tells her to choose between the two, which she chooses neither. And for some reason, Abe thinks this is a win for him. They then marry to graduate. The end. This is a dumb episode. Mr. Burns and Grandpa might as well fall in love with a plank of wood. That's how boring she is. Heck, Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy is more interesting. The only saving grace it has is that this is one of the funniest episodes I can remember, which makes it a B-. Number 11 is The Hateful 8-Year-Olds. With a happy birthday to Addie. This episode is about Lisa getting invited to her new friend Addie's birthday sleepover, after they met in the library and share a love of horses. When Lisa gets to Addie's house, she learns that Addie is rich and owns her own horses, so they ride horses together. And that's when she meets the other girls at the party, who are all stuck-up mean girls and start mocking Lisa, and Addie joins them in the mockery. Lisa confronts Addie in private and learns that she only invited Lisa so the mean girls would stop being mean to her, with the plan that Lisa will continue the vicious cycle, finding a new friend and being mean to her. But Lisa refuses and wants to leave. Unfortunately, Homer and Marge are on a sunset cruise with bad reception, leaving Bart to save the day. But he's not here to rescue Lisa. He's here to help her get revenge, which she does by ruining their hair, and the mean girls chase her down. They try to escape on horseback, but the girls catch up to them. Lisa then appeals to Addie's nerdy horse-loving side, who then turns on the mean girls and saves the day. This episode does have its flaws. It was rather lacking in the jokes, and the subplot was kinda lame. But I really enjoyed the plot of this episode. I always prefer it when Lisa is treated like the little girl she is, as opposed to the activist protesting this or that. B. Number 10 is Stark Raving Dad. With a happy birthday to Lisa. This is one of the only episodes you can't watch on Disney+. Why? Because it's about the town being obsessed with Michael Jackson, a person who upon his death was praised for his work as a trailblazing singer. Then people remember the other stuff he supposedly did, and just flat out did, like hanging a baby over a balcony. While this episode does have funny moments, it's a little awkward to watch. I do like how he was used in the episode, not actually being Michael Jackson, but a mental patient who thought he was Michael Jackson. Hey, maybe that Lady Gaga episode would be better if you think she's a mental patient. It isn't. But speaking of that, this episode is the first of its kind, where Springfield is obsessed over a real-world celebrity. Only this isn't cringy and awful. Well, it was a little cringy. In the end, the episode is good, and the Happy Birthday Lisa song is great. But this episode is marred with a lot of black marks. B. Number 9 is The Dad Who Knew Too Little. With a happy birthday to Lisa. This episode starts off with Lisa wanting a diary for her birthday, but when Homer goes to get it, it's sold out. So he finds something that will make her the star of a little video, where Homer fills in the blanks about her. But this goes bad, because Homer knows nothing about her. Like saying the known vegetarian's favorite meal is McNuggets. So Lisa runs off crying on her birthday and wants nothing to do with Homer. Then Homer endeavors to learn more about his daughter, by hiring a private investigator named Dexter Colt to spy on her. This leads to Homer getting back into Lisa's good graces. However, when Colt charges Homer $1,000 for his work, Homer refuses to pay, leading to the detective to frame Lisa for the crime of freeing research animals. Homer and Lisa then go on the run from the police, eventually leading to them coming across a circus with the freed research animals in it, sold to them by Colt, who attacks Homer and Lisa. And Homer saves Lisa by pushing her out of the way of the hit. She then saves Homer from Colt, who is about to shoot him. So the cops arrest Cole and Lisa gets the diary she wanted. The end. This was a good episode. It had funny jokes and it was an enjoyable plot. I give it a solid B. Number 8 is Puffless. With a happy birthday to Jacqueline Bouvier. In this episode, the family goes to Marge's mom's birthday party, during which Patty and Selma learn that their father died of cancer from his lifetime of smoking. They then decide to give up smoking together, which Patty is going through the normal struggles of quitting smoking, but Selma isn't, and is actually becoming nicer. We quickly find out she didn't quit smoking. This makes Patty so angry she actually moves out of her apartment with Selma and moves in with the Simpsons. Selma then has to think to herself about what's important to her in life. And is this the moment we finally see her spend time with her daughter? And realize smoking is affecting her? Of course not. Why would Ling matter to Selma? It's not like Selma jumped through hurdles to get her. No, instead she goes to Patty and agrees to quit smoking for her. And then they just start smoking again. Alright, this episode was pointless. The ending of this episode really brought down the quality in my eyes. It did have 2 things going for it though. It was a hilarious episode of many great jokes, and the Maggie subplot, where Maggie befriends animals and has to rescue a possum from Cletus. This is easily the best part of the episode, and might be one of the best things The Simpsons have ever made. It really stops this episode from falling lower in the ranks. Even though I hated the ending, this episode overall is an A-. Number 7 is Rosebud. With a happy birthday to Mr. Burns. In this episode, we see Mr. Burns' birthday party, where he gets tons of presents, like a stack of cash, a pile of gold, a freaking unicorn, and a genie lamp. Also a bunch of ties for some reason. And let's not forget the Dustbuster. Thanks, Marge. But he doesn't care for any of these presents, because the only thing he is interested in is his old childhood teddy bear, Bobo, who has had a life, before ending in the possession of Maggie. Homer and Burns make a deal for Bobo. That is $1 million, which would be more than double today, and 3 Hawaiian islands. And of course, Homer jumps on the deal. But Maggie won't give up the bear, causing Homer to refuse Mr. Burns' deal. Seriously, Maggie is 1. She won't remember this bear. What she will remember is being rich with 3 Hawaiian islands. Also, this bear is disgusting and disease-ridden. They shouldn't let her have it anyway. Refusing this deal leads Burns to go to great lengths for the bear, which fail each time, until he confronts Maggie and tries to steal it from her. But he can't, and eventually relents. Then Maggie just gives Bobo to him, single-handedly costing our family millions. This damn baby. Overall, this episode was fun. I obviously have some issues with it, but it is a very memorable episode, and deserves an A. Number 6 is Mr. Lisa's Opus. With a happy birthday to Lisa. This episode is essentially the Bart Hood episode but for Lisa, where we see past, present, and future versions of Lisa, mostly centering around her birthday. We see Lisa's 7th birthday, where everyone forgot about it, causing her to become emotionally distraught in school, forcing Homer to pick her up, who then remembers it's her special day. And they have a cute little stitched together party for her. At least Ned didn't forget. We then see her 14th birthday, which people remember immediately, and they start celebrating while she's still in bed. Then she spends the day in fear that Marge is leaving Homer. But she manages to stop it and got Homer to quit drinking, saying it was the best birthday present she ever got. Now that's just sweet. We then see Lisa go to Harvard, not on her birthday, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We see her concerned about fitting in, until Bart encourages her. And she meets her roommate, who's very similar to her. Then they claim each other lifelong friends. We then see an adorable montage of Lisa growing up, ending with her as a baby with her parents. This is a great episode with sweet and touching moments. The only downside is it's lacking in comedy. But that only brings it down a little. It's still a solid A. Number 5 is Grade School Confidential. With a happy birthday to Martin. This episode starts off with Martin inviting kids to his birthday party, which doesn't end well for the kids because of bad oysters, except for Bart, who didn't eat them. However, things go better for Edna and Skinner, who make out in Martin's playhouse. But Bart sees what they did, and ends up making a deal with them to keep his silence, because they fear they'll lose their jobs if people find out. Unfortunately, this deal doesn't go well for Bart, as every time they want to sneak around, they rope Bart into it. Skinner even uses him as a proxy when he says "I love you" to Edna in front of the class. But this moment is the last straw for Bart, who decides to show everyone what they're up to, leading to misinformation flying everywhere, making it sound much worse than it was, causing Edna and Skinner to get fired and Bart feeling guilty for it. The episode culminates in Skinner, Edna, and Bart locking themselves in the school, until Superintendent Chalmers gets them to talk, where it's revealed the parents think they were doing it in the school, as opposed to just making out, which is all resolved when Skinner reveals he's a 44-year-old virgin, and all is well. This is one of the more memorable episodes of my youth, and it started what was a great relationship between Skinner and Edna. Sadly, it didn't end as well. But for this episode, it's an A. Number 4 is Homer Simpson in kidney trouble, with a happy birthday to Grandpa. This episode starts with the family heading to a ghost town, but the car breaks down in front of the retirement castle, where Grandpa is sitting outside and thinks they remembered his birthday, so they take him with them. So they spend some time there before heading back home. But on the drive back, Homer refuses to stop the car so Grandpa can pee, resulting in his kidneys exploding, and he now needs a new kidney or he'll die. So Homer agrees to give his dad one of his kidneys, not realizing the gravity of the situation. Before the operation, Homer panics and flees the hospital, fleeing to the sea captain's ship of lost souls, along with others who left their lives in shame. However, when Homer tells them what he did, they are disgusted and throw him overboard. When he washes on shore, he sees a father and son playing together at the beach, and it makes him think about his family. So he goes back to the hospital and gives Grandpa a kidney, after getting crushed by a car when he fled again. The end. This is a solid episode. It's hilarious, with several touching moments between Homer and Grandpa. And seeing Homer go through emotions of fear and guilt was well done. The only thing that brings it down is the reason all this happened was because of a jerk-ass Homer moment. But even with that, I give it an A. Number 3 is the Ha Ha couple, with a happy birthday to Nelson. The episode starts with Nelson threatening kids to come to his birthday party. But none of the kids like Nelson, so Bart convinces everyone to not show up. However, after bragging about what he did, Marge forces Bart to go. And it's revealed that it would have been a great party if anybody went. This leads to Bart and Nelson having fun and becoming friends. Bart is apprehensive about being Nelson's friend, until he stops him from being bullied, showing Bart there are many perks from Nelson's friendship. But after a while, Nelson starts becoming possessive of Bart, to scary levels. Bart eventually tells Nelson they're not friends anymore, which causes him to fear that Nelson's going to kill him on a field trip. But when Nelson gets him alone, He tells Bart that he was a bad friend and was just using Nelson. Nelson then saves Bart from drowning when high tide comes in. The episode ends with Bart reminiscing and cherishing Nelson's friendship. This is a great episode. It was hilarious and had a great plot. Heck, it even had a great subplot that I didn't even cover. About Homer reading Lisa and Angelica Button book. The Simpsons version of Harry Potter. It fully deserves an A+. Number 2 is Iron Marge. With a happy birthday to Marge. So after seeing Marge be essentially bullied by the other housewives because of her crummy sleeping robe, Bart and Lisa want to give her a nice new one for her birthday. But they come across a spy kit they want instead. So they get Marge 2 ironing board covers that they got for free, which she already owned. Naturally, Marge is upset about these bad gifts. And while the kids are playing with the spy kit, they overhear Marge crying, causing them to feel bad and want to do better. They then brainstorm what they know about their mom, and get nothing. They don't even get her name right. So they break into her memory trunk and learn about a childhood parrot named Petey that her parents gave away. And Lisa, knowing parrots live a long time, decide to set out and go find Petey, which they do and bring him back to Marge. Unfortunately, her parents got rid of Petey for good reason, but it was truly the thought that counted. Then in the credits, we learned that they got her the nice robe, and she got to show off to her friends. This is another episode that shows The Simpsons is currently in a renaissance, thanks to Matt Selman taking the reins. I love that they acknowledge the mistreatment and neglect Marge is often given, and the kids work together to do better. This is an amazing episode, and a reason you shouldn't miss out on new Simpsons episodes. A+. And lastly, number 1, and the best Simpsons birthday episode is Radio Bart. With a happy birthday to Bart. Early in this episode, we see Bart's birthday party, where everyone at the party gets him some of the worst gifts imaginable. Seriously? A cactus? However, Homer gets him a gift that he really hopes Bart will enjoy. The Superstar Celebrity Microphone, which Bart doesn't appreciate at first, until he realizes it's a great avenue for pranks. We proceed to see him prank numerous people, until he gets the idea to prank the entire town, by pretending there's a boy named Timmy O'Toole stuck in a well. And this prank works well, as the town rallies behind little Timmy, to the point celebrities get together and sing a song for him. However, Lisa finds out what Bart's up to, and warns him that the town's going to gut him when they find out, leading Bart to sneak into the well and retrieve the radio, and actually getting stuck. While calling for help, he reveals that Timmy O'Toole was just a prank, and the town decides, let's just leave him down there. But Homer says, screw this, I'm getting my boy, and starts to dig, leading to Willie starting to dig. Then more people digging, and before we know it, it's an old-fashioned hole digging, and Bart is saved. This is not only the best birthday episode The Simpsons have ever made, it's easily one of the best episodes in the history of the show. Heck, I even made a whole video about this episode. If you want a more detailed recap, go check it out. This episode fully deserves the number 1 spot on this list, and is obviously an A+. And that's The Simpsons birthday episodes ranked from worst to best. If you have a different opinion, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. And happy birthday.